Hello everyone, this is travel log from our trip to Malta. Malta is a small island country in the Mediterranean Sea. It is located between the continents of Europe, Africa and Asia. Due to its location, it has been strategically very important for various rising and falling empires in the history. This is why the Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, the Arabs, Ottoman Empire, the French and the British all have had control over Malta in different periods of time in the history. That is why Malta is a melting pot of various cultures. Malta has a population of around 550,000 and Valletta is its capital city. We spent our first day in Valletta discovering various historical buildings, its unique streets and lanes, various museums, and watching over the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. Some examples of Valletta are destroyed yet till day used theatre, St. Elmo's Fort which has been turned to War Memorial Museum. This museum showcases who had control over Malta in which period of time, and since Malta was under British control during World War II, this museum showcases how Malta was used for operations and planning during the war. After a thorough tour of the museum, we had our lunch and relaxed with the vibing musicians in the streets of Valletta. Later on at 4 pm, we had the pleasure of witnessing the cannon shot from the saluting battery, under which lies the Lascaris War rooms. These bunker-style war rooms are located beneath the streets of Valletta and were used for coordination and communication of various operations. After the Second World War, these war rooms were forgotten, but later on in early 2000s, they were restored in a public-private cooperation. With this, the first day of our trip came to an end. With the sun shining bright again, we began our day by visiting to Blue Grotto, which lies in the southwest of Malta. Here we found amazing formations of rocks and caves, and it was magical to see when the sunlight hit the blue mesmerizing waters. For example, the interaction of water, sunlight and caves created the blue window. Just above the formations of Blue Grotto stands the Xutu watchtower, which was built in 17th century by the Order of St. John's. 30 watchtowers like these protected Malta from pirates and invaders. After absorbing nature's miracles, we set out to see some ancient human creations. The 5,000-year-old temples of Hagar Qim Mnajdra. Being built around 3600 BC by ancient human civilizations as a place of worship, these temples were forgotten and buried only to be discovered in the early 19th century. 15 minutes drive from these temples is the beautiful city of Mdina. Mdina is a beautiful fortified city which is lost in time. All of the components of this city like streets, buildings, tiny lanes have been preserved over the years. And we were lucky enough to step in and dine in some buildings as old as 400 years. In the Middle Ages, this city was capital of Malta, and when Arabs captured it, they renamed it as Mdina, and later on Mdina was renamed Mdina. And with the sundown, the second day of our trip came to an end. Being on an island for 2 days, how could have we missed taking a dip into the sea? Hence we set our course towards a hidden gem in the north of Malta, the Riviera beach. This sandy beach sits between cliffs on both of its sides. Here we were greeted by clean blue and turquoise water which was indeed very cold. After swimming in the sea and exploring this area, we headed towards another tourist attraction, the Popeye village. This village is a film set which was made in 1980 for the shooting of the film Popeye, and since then have been turned to a fun theme park for kids. After watching the village from above the cliffs and hunger kicking in, we went towards Mellieha Bay for our lunch. Mellieha Bay is famous among tourists for swimming and various other water sports. After eating and relaxing by the beach for some time, we went back towards Riviera beach to watch sunset. And definitely it was one of the best experiences we had on our trip. With the sun taking a dip into the sea, it was cold enough for us to put on our winter caps and jackets. And with this, the third day of our trip came to an end. Sunset in one direction is sunrise in the other, and this is how we began the fourth day of our trip, by witnessing a sunrise. It was 31st of December and New Year's Eve was approaching, and what better place to be then the capital of Malta, Valletta again. We visited St. John's Cathedral, the saint from Jerusalem who was sent by the Spanish king in 1530s to capture Malta in his name, and St. John helped settle the city of Valletta. Later on we went snacking in the oldest cafe in Malta, Cafe Cordina, which was established in 1837, and tried some of the Maltese cheese pastry known as pastizi. A different dimension of exploring Valletta was to take a walk in the Great Ditch, which once protected the city from invaders. Soon enough it was getting dark, and New Year's celebrations had begun in almost every tiny street of Valletta, with dancers and musicians performing all around. We also witnessed a live concert in the central square of Valletta where local Maltese artists were performing. We enjoyed our evening thoroughly, and with fireworks all around, we were welcomed in the new year of 2023. Beginning of the new year marked the end of our Maltese vacation, and with all the beautiful memories, it was time to say goodbye Malta.